Mark's asked me to speak a little bit about the SMMT and the fact that these vehicles are all here. It's because these are new premises for the SMMT, and because they have these fantastic windows which are open to the road, I've decided to put these vehicles in the display area. And it's also fantastic to see that we've got a DS down the far end, which is great. And this is all part of the run-up to the UK launch on the 2nd of April. So that's why we're all here, and we have these 4 fantastic vehicles in front of us. As I already mentioned, the white DS at the far end of the room gives us great pleasure. It gives me great pleasure, actually, to see it down at the end of the room, because it's something that is very important to Citroen's heritage, our heritage. And it also bears the badge and the initials that goes onto these 3 vehicles. And the heritage of that vehicle is something that you'll hear me talk about a little bit this evening, which is also linked to these vehicles, and especially DS5. Every DS will be unique. And that's not a quote, that's a statement. It's part of the branding that we're now trying to evolve on the DS line, is that every DS will be part of an emotional setup. It will have a very specific silhouette, very specific feature. The DS3 has its shark fin, which is becoming quite iconic around the streets in London. DS4, its silhouette, slightly raised up driving position, its rear window, quarter doors. And DS5, in its own right, has the sound across the front wing, which everyone can see from quite a distance, and its silhouette, which is incredibly important as well. And they're key elements that we'll see evolving through the DS line and the DS range. Again, quality, attention to detail is something as well, which is very important in the DS range. I don't know what the actual figures of DS3 is in England, but I know that it's outselling a certain number of other vehicles. And hot off the press, I know that DS5, which has been launched in Europe, in France and in Germany since the beginning of December, has actually just now moved into the 5,000 orders, which is a fantastic achievement for a new car which has just been launched. So it's already paying off, and we're already finding clients. And the clients are very interesting. It's a very different client base for us. It's a very bold vehicle. It's breaking all the rules. We wanted a vehicle that was compact. The market is asking us to descend in its segment. We did not want to be too big a vehicle at this period in time. Europe is coming into compact vehicles. Everyone's moving down a segment. DS5 has moved down in size a little bit. It hasn't lost anything in terms of practicality. It still has its luggage space, still takes 5 people comfortably. It has a slightly higher riding position and driving position. It has a fantastic look, fantastic styling, and it's a great place to be inside. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. The market wants something fresh. The market wants something very fresh, something different, especially from Citroen. I think that was one of the things that we understood while we were working on DS5. The market wants something from Citroen as a brand that is slightly different, slightly more passionate as well. And with DS5, we're launching the hybrid technology as well. So I'll talk a bit about that as well. Some of the keywords as designers, to go into designer speak again, we've created a code for these vehicles, and the code will be used for the other vehicles, which I think the press already know about, which are going to come in the future. And some of the keywords we use, and the one we've used before, is hypnotic. That's part of our heritage as well. Hypnotic is a fantastic word for a designer because it just basically means that you're spellbound. Now, anyone who's seen DS5 drive around in town or follow at night have told us that they follow them down the roads in Paris because it is just an incredible vehicle to see driving. Anyone who knows anything about car design knows that as an object, a car has to be seen driving. It's a sculpture in its own right, but it's also a dynamic sculpture. And when we work on our products, we make our models, and they're actually little motorized models, which we drive around test tracks and we look, and we put them at different eye lines. This car has been designed to be at your eye line when you're following it. And the rear end is very special when you see it disappearing off down the back street at night with its rear lamps. It's part of some of the work we do and some of the attention to detail that we do when we work on these products. Hypnotic is one of the key words. original engineering comes about through the hybrid technology and also the technology within inside the car, head-up display and everything else. The refinement, we spend a lot of time, a lot of man-hours refining this vehicle in terms of quality and detail and finish. It's probably the best finished car that we've done within the brand for many, many years. I'm not saying that the other cars are badly finished, but we are definitely pushing our boundaries as a generalist in terms of quality and finish. I think the press articles that we've seen recently make that apparent. The exterior design of the DS5 is unique in the sense that it does not have a sister. DS3 and DS4 breed off a C3 and a C4. DS5 breeds off nothing. It was very, very much a specific vehicle for DS, a tailored suit for that market. And the influences for the vehicle at the beginning of the project was Sport Lounge. Sport Lounge was a show car that we showed about 5 or 6 years ago, designed by Fred Subaru. And when we were doing the DS project and we were looking at the DS project, we were looking for concepts and proportions and vehicles that could become DSs. And Sport Lounge was such a fantastic show car, and we just didn't know where to position it within the range. And when DS came along, it was obvious that that product, that show car, could be a DS. And the proportions of DS5 are intrinsically linked to Sport Lounge. And the Sabre, the Chrome Sabre, is a very, very classical line back to the show car. If you look at the show car and look at pictures of the show car, you'll clearly see that the Sabre comes from that product. And we were very, very lucky to have the same designer work on the show car for Subaru, who was also the exterior designer for DS5. So it's a sort of a shooting brake. It has a practical rear tailgate, which is part of the market. The market declares and requires practicality as well as styling. So there's nothing being left behind. And the Ford diving windscreen, wraparound windscreen also changes the proportion, gives you a very comfortable cabin. The car's slightly high. As you can probably notice, it's a slightly high car. Not quite a 4x4, not quite a Berlin either. The driving position is a slightly higher driving position that allows us to compact the interior and get more space inside. It's also, and when we move inside, it's also got a very dynamic driving position. One of the things we wanted to achieve with DS5, right from day one, was this experience. And it's something we're trying to create as well through the whole range. Is a DS touches all your senses in more ways than one. The senses, just to look at the vehicle outside and to be passionate about it and to be passionate about owning it. It's a product that you want to own, you want to be seen with. And part of the interior was about the same thing. The interior is very special for us because it's very much a driver-orientated interior, a high center console. It's a fun place to be. We've taken cues from the aeronautical industry, the toggle switches along the roof, the little separate sunroofs which everyone can use. It's a great place. You can enjoy yourself by yourself, you can enjoy it with a passenger, and you can enjoy it with the family at the back. And probably the back seat is the best place to be because you can see all the fun in the front as well. All the detailing has been worked on. Nothing is specific. Everything is specific on the inside. All the colour and trim has been bespoke as well. We have the leather watch strap seats, which you can actually see on just the DS5, which is now becoming a trademark across the whole DS range. The quality of leather as well is a quality which is paralleled with Bentley, Aston Martin. All the bright work and the aluminium pieces on the interior are real aluminium. If you touch them, they're cold. The aluminium supplier is actually an English supplier. He's a supplier also supplies aluminium to Aston Martin. So we're using high quality materials in the vehicle as well, which is part of what we want to do and what we want to do with the DS range in general. It's giving this unique place to be, this special place to be. The weight of each button as well has been engineered to give you this lovely fit as well. We are in the premium segment. That's where we wanted to be. We wanted to be into that bespoke, special, something that everyone wants to own sort of feel. All DSs have a different suspension setup to a Citroen. think this is probably something that hasn't quite managed to get through clearly in the press, but what we're trying to achieve with DS is a different feeling, a different brand, a different sense of being, of driving, of using the vehicles. They are much more engaging as a product. They're much more absorbing as a product as well. They're much more young and dynamic and demanding as a product. So the dynamics of DS5 are very, very different to what you would expect from C5 as well. And the car, DS5 also, was very much designed to showcase the hybrid technology that we're launching in this car, the Hybrid 4 technology, but in a different way, in our way of inventing the hybrid technology, in that it's something extra for you. You have a wheel in the middle of the console that allows you to actually adjust what you would like to do. You can run the vehicle just on electric. You can then run it in a 4x4 mode. You can run it as a sports mode, which takes you up to 200 brake horsepower. Again, it's engaging you with the vehicle. It's engaging you to do something else. It's just not as anyone else would do a hybrid. It's a hybrid done by Citroen, by DS, in a fabulous tailored suit, basically. It's a shame it's sitting here in a showroom. You should actually sit outside, beetling around the roads, and chasing up and down backwards. The product itself should be seen in the streets. So I hope you see lots on the road in England at some stage.